What is going on, guys? What did you think of that Nintendo Switch live stream? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let's talk about some of the major announcements that were unveiled, and I'll give you guys my quick feedback on it. First and foremost, I have to say, as a whole, I really liked it. There were some issues with the translator that I wasn't really impressed with. There was a couple times where the translator was really lagging behind and it made things very frustrating. There were a couple game titles that were only written in Japanese that I had no idea what they were about. I was kind of trying to glance off at Twitch to see if maybe somebody had an answer for what was going on, but you know how Twitch chat is. It's very, very, very hit and miss, and most people were just doing kappa emotes, so it was kind of hard to tell what was going on. We got all the questions that I wanted answered. We know when it comes out. We know what it costs. We know about the controllers. We know about some of the games that are coming. And we know about the battery life. So let's talk about those are the things that I felt this conference needed to do. I was looking at it and thinking of it from two ways. One, did the conference succeed? And two, are we hyped about the Switch? Let's first talk about the conference piece. It went very well. There was a lot of speakers. I wish it was in English. I don't like the fact that it was translated, not because I don't mind listening to a translator over, somebody else talking. That doesn't bother me. It was that the translator, as I said, he couldn't really keep up with a lot of what people were saying. I'm not really sure why. It seemed like at the beginning the translator was reading off a script and it was very easy to follow on, but towards the end it really started to lag. Some of the graphics weren't matching up to what the guy was saying. He was reacting to things that weren't going on. I'm sure a lot was literally lost in translation. That's kind of unfortunate. But we did get to see enough. We got to see in-depth looks at it. The guy holding it up, holding it in his hands. We got to see some of the sizzle reels, some deep dives on some games. You saw third-party support. So I think overall, as a conference, it succeeded. And for that, I'm happy. And Nintendo kind of back to the old E3 form. This was a very different approach than the Nintendo Directs we've seen. But I think that it worked, and I'm happy for that. So conference aside, okay. Now let's talk about the actual console, because the reality is, whether you like the conference or not, it's kind of irrelevant, right? Because in a year from now, you're not going to be talking about the conference, you're going to be talking about the stuff. So let's talk about the stuff. It's coming out on March 3rd, which is a lot sooner than a lot of people thought. A lot of people thought it wasn't going to be till March 17th was a date I heard floating around. But it's coming March 3rd for an MSRP of $299, which isn't a bad price. I know a lot of people thought it should be $250. I think that $299 is an okay price. Yes, you can compare it to current PlayStation 4 and Xbox One bundles. I expect to see those sales go down even more so now to kind of really draw people in. But the Switch is a whole different thing, and Nintendo is its own universe, and that's okay in a weird Nintendo way, and I don't mind that. I think the price was okay with me. They're going to be doing some online stuff, but they're going to do paid online. So they're actually entering into the paid online community. So if you're like me, you're going to have to buy an Xbox Live subscription, a PlayStation Plus subscription, and now a Nintendo subscription. But if the online is better because of it, I'm okay with that too. I know I compare everything to the PC Master Race where online is free and perfect, but I understand that not everything is like the PC Master Race, and the console is going to be what it's going to be, and that is just a subset and a monthly fee, and I guess that's what it's going to be. Don't know if we're going to get any free games like we did on PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live. They really didn't detail much of the service, but there's going to be a free trial coming, so you get a chance to dip your toe in the water and see if it's something you're interested in investing. It's going to be region free, which is really nice. I know that the PlayStation 4 went that route. Now you can play any game anywhere. I mean, if you don't understand the language, I guess it's going to be hard, but there are certain fighting and driving games where I'm sure you could probably figure it out, and that's kind of neat. 8 consoles can be connected up to each other at once. Good luck finding 8 consoles. I think these things are going to be impossible to find, but there are going to be 8. The Joy-Con has a capture button, which will do screenshots and ultimately video at some point in the future. This is Nintendo's really big leap forward into social media and sharing screenshots and funny moments with your friends. This is great. I can't tell you how many times I go on Reddit and watch little animated GIFs of people doing funny things in PlayStation and the Xbox universe. Now we can get that Nintendo element put in place. No mention of how this works out with the whole YouTube sharing program. We're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. I think maybe that's kind of why they hushed the video part till the end. And they're like, oh yeah, video's coming next. We'll see. The Joy-Cons are also going to have gyro controls. They're also going to come in color variations, potentially, if you're able to pick up that bundle. They're going to contain a motion IR camera, which can detect hand movements. And it's going to feature a new HD rumble technology with advanced haptic feedback. So it's pretty loaded. I think that part of it sounds good. That was one of my big questions, was what really is going on with the controller, and they did a really good deep dive of it. I was very pleased. The only thing I'm worried about is the form factor. I have big hands. I don't know if me playing like this over an extended period of time is going to work. That really looked to be on par size-wise with the Nintendo 3DS, which my hand cramps up all the time during, and I'm only able to play for very small portions of time. I'm curious to see how this thing feels, but obviously I can't feel it until I feel it. I'll probably be one of the people who jumps on board for the actual PlayStation Pro controller. It doesn't have all the fancy bells and whistles. The only thing I worry about with the controller before I move on is I do hope that Nintendo does not force you to use these stupid gimmicks in games. You all remember using the waggle in the Skyward Sword game and how frustrating that was, and how they always try to force these mechanics into gameplay. I hope that it's just a peripheral that's just kind of out there like a feature set. Very similar to what the PlayStation has done with the LED light on the front. It doesn't really matter, it's just kind of there. It drains battery, but you don't have to worry about it. I hope a lot of these features end up in that same environment. I hope that it's not really forced upon us. We'll have to wait and see. Battery life, they said, would be 2.5 to 6 hours depending on the game you're playing, depending on what you're doing. That seems a little bit low, but they did say that you can plug in your very fancy USB-C connector and you're good to go. Everybody's got one of those. Those things are a dime a dozen. Yes, I guess if you're playing mobily, why would you carry a cable around with you? But, you know, if you're playing in the car, which is I think where probably most people would be using this, you're going to be okay. You also have the portable battery pack if you're really out playing outdoors for a long period of time. I don't think I'll ever take mine outside the case. I'm just excited for the new hardware. I don't really care so much about that. But it's there if you want it, and it's something that, you know, it's a nice feature if you need it. They did not talk about what the performance would be on battery mode. That was something I was curious about. They didn't mention as to whether or not frame rate would be reduced, or draw distance, or graphics, or how that would play into the overall equation. I'm sure we'll have to hear about that more later on, but don't be surprised if it's not as good on the TV as it is on the portable station. Now, if you do get this, if you can plug it in remotely, then maybe that part goes away, but I guess that kind of defeats the purpose of on the go. I'm not really sure. But we do know about battery life now, which is good. Launch titles weren't a whole lot. I think the only one they actually confirmed, 2, was the 1-2 Switch, which is, I thought was going to be bundled with the console. It doesn't look like it's going to be. And Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. They dropped a mic with this new Mario Odyssey game where Mario is running around in a real city with cars and people. And that blew my mind away. I mean, I'm still honestly reeling from that. They showed some other games. Some look good, some didn't look good. Splatoon 2 is coming out. Xenoblade 2 is coming out. Still no Metroid, but that's okay. Overall, I am really pleased with what I've seen with this console. I think it's a major step for Nintendo in all directions. I think the controller could be acceptable. The battery life looks good. They did say it was going to be touchscreen, but they didn't really mention how that was going to be used, and I was kind of frustrated to hear that because that ultimately is going to hurt the battery life. But it does have touchscreen, I guess, maybe for certain inputs. I'm thinking like the Wii U gamepad, maybe. They didn't really talk about how that would translate into gameplay or anything. So, yeah, those were kind of the big things that I was really concerned about, and they seem to hit all those online gameplays there. I don't know anything about voice chat. I don't know if they've talked about any kind of like connection or anything into the console or anything like that. Not really sure. Anyways, that's everything you guys need to know. I'm going to leave you guys with a picture of my friend Brent, who did not like this video, who did not like anything. Hopefully we can do a podcast and deep dive this a little bit more. I'm going to also be uploading my live reaction once I can download the video. I'm going to sync my audio over it, so if you want to watch a presentation again with my goofy ass in the corner, it might be something you might enjoy doing. It's my first attempt at it. Rachel is sitting off camera to my side, but we had a lot of fun doing it. So I am excited for the Switch. I can't wait to see if I get one of these things. If I do, I'm going to be really excited at launch. If not, there's not a whole lot of launch games, so maybe it isn't such a big deal. We'll have to wait and see. Everything you need to know, everything I tell you, how about that, about the Nintendo Switch in under 10 minutes. Have a great day. See you guys on the other side.